we we get about 50% of our signups come from a viral loop. So people share a journey, the people that are receiving the journey sign up for it, and then we work. Our sales pipeline is based on what people are doing in the product.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the B2B SaaS podcast. I'm your host, Upendra Verma, and today we have Brendan Bites with us. Brendan here is the co-founder of a company called Journey. Hey, Brendan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, Brendan. So let's try to understand what Journey as a company does, right, and why customers pay you money.
Yeah, absolutely. Journey is a new storytelling format for sales and marketing teams. We basically felt like 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, B2B transactions should be as easy as buying something on Amazon.com in the B2C world. So we're trying to bridge that gap in large B2B transactions. So we create this storytelling format for salespeople encompassing video, documents, text, all in one place to create an amazing buying experience.
And so just talk a bit more about the product, right? So is it just currently, are you trying to replace PowerPoints? Is that what you're trying to do? Or is it much more than a simple presentation format?
Yeah, I think it's we integrate with PowerPoint, but we feel like um the 16 by 9 rectangle that we've all been used to for the last 40 years doesn't really give much justice to the storyteller, the person behind the content. So we feel like Journey is a bit more interactive. It's mobile first, and it helps people to gain context, especially in an asynchronous remote world where not everything is happening live. I think PowerPoints are better for live presentations. We play more in the backstage, like after the call, before the call, internal meetings that you're not a part of, is what we facilitate.
Got it. So I'm just trying to understand. It looks like this is a different way of, presenting your ideas or, getting your things out there, right? So how have you sort of chosen this positioning of, you deciding to just sell it to sales and marketing teams? Like, what's the backstory there?
Yeah, great question. I feel like a lot of companies, the founders kind of start with what they know best. I mean, we come from my co-founders. We kind of span the gamut of sales, marketing, and BD. So that's just honestly where our network started, or our network lives, and where we had access to customers the quickest, and we understood the best. So you bring up a good point. We see a lot of other use cases outside of sales and marketing, but from a go-to-market perspective, to not completely go insane, we try to focus on sales and marketing. And but as you can probably tell, anyone can sign up for Journey and use it for anything. And we feel like everyone is a storyteller in their own regard, regardless of what you're selling, your company, yourself. So
Yeah,
lots of use cases, but that's our focus.
got it. So Brendan, let's try to understand your customer base as of today, right? So how many customers do you have? How many paying customers do you have on your platform as of today?
Yeah, absolutely. It's around 200 paying companies, and those are, I would call them early, like Series A, Series B startups. And then you have about 25% more growth companies like Reddit and Sitely, more Series D, Series Z, pre-IPO companies. And it's mainly, our buyer is the VP of sales or the CRO, but we really tailor to the end user. The end user is really the individual salesperson or the individual account manager.
Mhm.
So that's our paying user base, and then we have a freemium model. So there's tens of thousands of users every month that use our free product.
Got it. Right. So and how big of a deals are we talking about? I know there's gonna be a big spread, right? So but typically, for example, if you pick your Series A or B customer, right, that you have, right? So how big of a deal are we talking about? Is it $1,000 deal? Is it $1,000 deal? I'm asking you because I just want to understand your go-to-market motion later, right?
Totally. Yeah. So our team deals range from 6 to 10K. So for those Series A, B companies, that's kind of the the median, I would say.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. All right. So are you comfortable sharing your revenue overall as a company?
I would say our next milestone is 1 million in ARR.
Okay, that's a wonderful data point. And how are you look like? When do you plan on achieving that? Like, how does the numbers look like?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully in the next 6 to 9 months.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. And all right, so let's talk about your go-to-market motion here, right? So I'm assuming you got around $10,000 deals, right? So just help us understand, right? Typically, where you finding all of these deals or leads from a top of funnel perspective, and then we can talk about the
Totally.
conversion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we candidly, the founders of Journey, we don't come from enterprise sales background or direct sales background. We've always worked at and built self-serve software companies in different spaces, but our entire motion is I don't want to use too much of a buzzword, but product-led growth. We get about 50% of our signups come from a viral loop. So people share a journey, the people that they that are receiving the journey sign up for it, and then we work. Our sales pipeline is based on what people are doing in the product. So we are looking at signals from what people when they're coming in, creating a journey, inviting team members, and then we have a lot of enrichment on what companies they work for, if they're a good fit for us to then reach out and engage. We don't have any sales or marketing headcount at the company, so it's just the founders doing it. And then, um, I mean, we have done things like product hunt launches and things to drive top of funnel, which have done very well. We've tested out some very lightweight email sponsorships, and then yeah, I would say the majority though comes from the product.
Okay,
I wouldn't
so
say we're
so
viral like Loom or Calendly, but that's our goal.
but do you have something like what Loom or Calendly have, powered by Loom, powered by Calendly? Do you have something like powered by
Exactly.
Journey? And is that what's
Exactly.
responsible for most of this top of funnel growth?
Exactly. It's really tough to track. Like, not the majority of people don't click on that button, but when we do like follow up surveys and things, you can tell that like they've seen a journey, and that's why they're signing up.
Got it. And then what happens after somebody signs up, starts using your product, right? So how do you convert them to a paying user? And I know you've got hundreds of customers, right? So how have you managed to close them so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, typically it's once we use the framework that Slack used back in the day. Like, once you get 3 people in an organization, that's we consider that a team. And if they fit our ICP, like a company that a sales team that is like, most of our customers are selling non-transactional deals, like meaning that there's a lot of stakeholders involved, there's a lot of content going back and forth. So if we deem that it's a good fit for us, once we see 3 people in an account, we serve them hopefully helpful content that gets them to creating their first journey, sharing their first journey, inviting more team members, and then we engage with more training and onboarding content live.
So just give me one data point, right? So for example, for a $10,000 deal that you might have closed recently, right? So how much time did it actually take you to close that deal? Are we talking weeks, months? And how much in like effort did you put in actually to close that deal?
Yeah. Uh, I wish it was faster, but it's probably 2 months right now. Like, is the deal cycle? I think everyone is the way the market is and the way the world is today. Everything takes longer. Smaller deals have more people involved, and I think the beauty for us is that people can get started for free. They can. It's like no risk to them. If we want to speed up deals, what we do is we actually can go in and help them create the journeys and customize for them and run like a very focused pilot. But we live and die by the product. If our customers can't come in and do things self-service, then we need to iterate more and make the product easier.
And it's primarily you founders trying to close these deals today, right? Or do you have any
We have
sales reps
one,
in your team?
we have one customer success slash sales slash rev ops person, but it's basically me and one other person.
Got it. So yeah, just I just want you to sort of go back, right, when it all started, right? So and I want to understand that 0 to 1 journey, right? I know you talked a bit about how you had this viral growth and all of it, right? But that must have been a recent story, right? So how did it all begin in the beginning, right? So how did you get those first set of customers? what was that journey like? How does that 0 to 1 journey look like in your case?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were accepted into Y Combinator in winter of 2021. So that's January 2021. And our we had no product, no customers at that point, but we had this idea and a prototype that we showed to, like I said earlier, our network was primarily in sales and marketing. So we just went out to our network warm to the best 50 or 100 salespeople, marketing people that we knew, and I begged them to try the product or use the product
And
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 iterate there.
and what's your background here? So how did you build that network over years?
Yeah, so I've been working in startups for the last 15 years. I'm from New York, so I started in around 2008, worked at startups here. I worked at Facebook fairly early on, before the IPO, in sales there. And then I led business development, corporate development at a company called AdRoll and then Quora. So I had worked at early stage companies like Series A, Series B, and then later stage companies like Series D, all in sales BD functions. So that's kind of where my network lies, and my co-founders also have worked at startups for their whole career. So we grew our network through our previous companies mainly. So I thank all the ex Facebook, AdRoll, Quora people for helping us grow.
Got it. Right. So a couple of questions here, right? In within this context here, right? So I'm assuming when you go to a VP of sales and sort of pitch your product, right? So is that something that is it really that pressing a problem for them that you're really solving, right? I mean, I could, if I'm VP sales, right? I've got a bunch of tools, right? So I mean, I could invest in some other place, right? So why would I sort of prioritize your product? So what's that pitch that you're sort of using to sell this and create that urgency and importance for your product?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the the last 10 years really were focused on sales enablement, like training sales reps, coaching them. There hasn't ever been a focus on the buyer. Like, how does the buyer want to buy? Meeting the buyer where they are, and just the way sales has evolved is really changing. It's more virtual, it's less in person, it's more asynchronous, and people like the buyers are getting younger. Like they're like me, they're maybe millennials now and buying roles where they don't like to always hop on a call. So I think it's changing. It's changing slowly though. But our pitch essentially is that you can test out journey fairly quickly to see if it's impacting things that you care about. Like VPs of sales, they pretty much care about three metrics. It's their win rate, their deal velocity, and then their net dollar retention. So we really help with the first two. And we could help with the third, but we try to focus on just one of those and testing out, if it could help improve those metrics. And then you're also doing a bit of consolidation with Journey because we have a bunch of tools in one place.
Got it. Right. So what's the vision here, right? So how are you gonna grow to that 1 million ARR, and like how are you gonna grow to that 5 million mark, right? So what's gonna happen in terms of marketing, sales, all of it, right? So what's the vision here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the idea is like we started in sales and marketing. I think we'll continue to focus there for till we hit that milestone of ARR. But I mean, we're just realizing that everyone is pretty much selling something. Whether you're looking for a job and you're trying to stand out, like we have people that are creating journeys as a new format for a resume. We have like TikTok creators that are creating a portfolio on Journey and selling sponsorships that way. So we think it's much broader to just like a new way of doing business in a B2B world. And so I think once we get to certain milestones, we'll start to really pour the fuel on, doing like actual paid growth and doing outbound sales. Because I think the reality is that um, in 10 years, every sales team is going to use something like Journey. I hope the majority of it is through something like actually Journey. But I think we're just going to see the digitization of B2B sales become more like what I've said when I initially got on this pod of like, think of how easy it is to buy something on Amazon. I think you'll see now I can buy a Tesla for $100,000 with a few taps on my phone. Like, I think you're going to see that B2B sales move in that direction. And the role of a salesperson really is going to shift. So that's why I think tools like this um, are going to be a need to have. The bigger question is more so, is it going to be startups that scale, or is it going to be the behemoths that just build or buy these things? That's
Mhm.
really the bigger question.
So, and so far you haven't been focusing on any outbound sales or any of that, right? It's just, a bunch of leads coming in through your viral loop, and then you're trying to selectively pick bunch of them and, go after them. Is that how it's been working
Yeah.
so
I
far?
mean, yeah, candidly, we could probably grow a lot faster if we did outbound sales, but I think I mean, time will tell if we're doing the right thing. I think that for us, we, like I said, live and die by the product.
Yeah.
And if you're going to truly be a product led growth company and that's your go to market motion, you can't force it with
Yeah.
top down sales. Like you really should just pick one.
So, and Brendan,
Uh,
what are you doing with all of those, non-aligned leads, right? So somebody from, let's say, a HR team trying to use your product for something, right?
yeah,
So are you literally leaving them around? And you're just saying, okay, we don't really care about you as of today. Is that what you're
it's,
doing?
yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I wouldn't say like we have, you know, once again, I hope it's helpful. We have hopefully helpful content for every type of persona, whether you're a salesperson, you're a marketer, you're a customer success, you're in recruiting, you're a venture capitalist and you're fundraising, or you're a founder and you're fundraising. We have helpful content about how you can use Journey for these different use cases. Um, but just the it's not worth it to us from a
Yeah.
revenue standpoint to like focus on those users. So we just try to convert them self-serve entirely.
Yeah.
Like you can pay monthly or whatnot.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah. So, all right. So, Brendan, let's just talk about the team here, right? So, how big is your team and what are they doing?
Yeah, we're a team of 9, 3 co-founders, 3 engineers, 2 design, 1 customer success, fully remote in, crazily enough, like 4 or 5 different time zones.
Got it. And have you raised any external funding so far to build your company?
Yes, we raised 4 million or a little over 4 million in 2021.
Got it. All right, Brendan. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Hope you scale Journey to much, much greater heights.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching the B2B SaaS podcast channel. I believe that the best way of building SaaS companies is by regularly talking to real founders who are out there building their companies. These founders have gained tons of insights during their journey, and I'm here to bring those to you. So if you want more such stuff, please make sure to subscribe to the channel here.